Welcome back. Certainly safety is a big key in finance, and just getting to that place where maybe you feel safe every night or every day with your finances, a little bit more financially secure. I'd actually worked with a Dr. Tom Garman once who had talked about financial security and financial well-being. And he had created this test, which I'm sure you could find online. We might be able to post it, where people could actually go through and take this 8-step little survey and find out where their financial well-being was. And it truly proved to show that people who are more financially stressed actually perform worse at work. Their marriages are typically worse. They may not be as good with their kids. I mean, the financial stress really transcends so many aspects of life. Sasha Kemble joins us from Verity Credit Union. Welcome, Sasha.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I mean, having a show on safety, the credit unions certainly take kind of a different approach maybe than banks. And I don't think anybody thinks banks are, the epitome of safety these days.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it does depend on how they're structured and what their goals are. I think with credit unions, because we're really designed to serve people rather than profits, we really want to help those in our membership feel financially safe. We want to help them feel financially secure. We don't want them to have those sleepless nights. And we evolved under a set of operating principles, all credit unions did, to really serve our communities and the people who belong to them. And so most people these days can join a credit union just based on where they live. It used to be just based on like where they were working or organizations they belong to. But it really helps give them a voice in the credit union where if they don't like the decisions that are being made, they have a vote, they have a say in it, which is not something that you find with banks.
Not unless you buy a lot of stock.
Not unless you buy a lot of stock.
I think Warren Buffett has a pretty good say at Bank of America now, but that could, that's
exactly.
a whole other topic.
But I think kind of some things that really help define us is that we have a spirit of cooperation. So we cooperate with our members, and we also cooperate with one another as far as one credit union with another, so that we can really make sure that we're serving all of our members, anyone who belongs to a credit union, in the best sort of ways. We look for efficiencies. If we have a program that's working, like a financial literacy program, we're going to share it with someone else, because the more that we're working together, the better our communities will do. We'll see more thriving, healthy communities.
Can you talk a little bit about the financial literacy programs and what people go through? Because we've discussed financial education, and most people just feel like it doesn't exist.
Yeah. And I think it's something, it can look different at all sorts of different places. Some of the things that we have is to really help bring people up. So if anybody has loans with us at Verity, we will provide free financial counseling for them so that they can get the basics of a budget, that they can get their payments under control, that they can get their finances to really live within their means. And I think the key things to consider in budgets is that you want to be sure that you're paying all of your expenses. You also want to be sure that you're providing for future, both the expected and the unexpected. Can you imagine kind of what effect it would have on a family if someone got a brain injury? Like, that has catastrophic effect. So being able to save to prepare as much as we can is really beneficial. But we still also want people to be able to live within their means in the present so that they can still do things that they want to do and have some of the things that they'd like to have.
And you kind of talk a little bit about, or we've hit on this before, wants versus needs, because that's got to be something you guys deal with a lot.
Exactly. I mean, it is something, if somebody comes in and they want a loan for a fancy car, we might have to talk to them to help them be realistic about what it is that they can afford. I think a lot of the problem that got us into this mess was people buying more home than they could really afford. And credit unions really try to work with their members to help them be successful. In looking at wants, sometimes it can be so hard because, credit feels good. Like you said, 95% of the purchases that we make is based on emotion. Everybody has heard of retail therapy and how that can lift you up. And it does lift you up, maybe for like a little bit. Well, you have a new sweater, or you have a new, TV. But if you're using credit to buy that, it is so easy for it to get out of hand, and you end up paying so much more over the long term.
People don't realize what that sweater costs them.
Exactly. I mean, if you spend $2,500, say, on several purchases at once, if you're only paying minimum payments of like $75, it's going to take you 9 years to pay it off, and it's going to cost $3,800 instead of that $25. So you're paying more than half. And that's at like a 12% interest rate. You're paying more than half on a purchase that you might not have by the time you paid it off. So it's really important to consider, is this something that I really want? Is this something that I really need? Is it going to make a difference in my life, or is it something that's just filling a short-term feeling?
And being able to essentially choose which one of those paths is on again, it's just even understanding what options are there and what paths are going to take you which place.
Exactly. I think it's so beneficial to really sit down with both your members of your family as well as somebody who can serve you, either a financial planner or at a credit union, to really help outline what your long-term goals are. So maybe home ownership is a goal for you. How can you get there? What steps do you need to be making in the present in order to afford that in the future? Like, that's really what financial literacy is about, as well as understanding that true cost of credit, so that that $1,300 that you paid extra in interest in a shopping spree could have been a contribution towards a down payment on a home.
Which is certainly nicer than sweaters sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
depending.
$2,500 sweater. I'm not sure how those feel. I bet they're pretty nice.
Yeah.
You guys also focus, as you said, on families.
Do.
And you mentioned this Moon Jar program to help people start young to maybe avoid future mistakes?
Exactly. We have something for our youth accounts, which is called a Moon Jar, and it's like a piggy bank, but it's got 3 different containers. And so one is spend, one is share, and one is save. And parents and guardians can really then work with their kids to begin developing what a budget looks like. And for kids, they maybe don't need to be putting 50% towards their savings, but helping them understand that their money can be put to different uses. So they can spend it on themselves and comic books and candy. Maybe they're going to put 70 cents of every dollar into the spend, but they might also put a dime into share. Maybe they want to contribute it to a charity, or maybe they want to use that to buy gifts for their friends and family. But then also that 20 cents of every dollar to help them save. And it's all evolving too. I mean, all credit unions are looking for new ways that we can help start young, to help kids understand the essentials, so that by the time that they're 18 and they're getting their first credit card offers, they have a sense of what it is to budget, instead of, going kind of crazy, because credit's easy to get.
Especially once you get to college. I mean, it's pretty incredible. We're here with Sasha Kemble from Verity Credit Union. Sasha, we have about a minute left before we have to go to break. What are some of the biggest programs that are succeeding in the credit unions right now? I
think any financial literacy program, what we're seeing so much use of is our financial counselors, to get people out of the mess that maybe a layoff or just being underwater on mortgages. Seeing them get out of it is an amazing thing. But there's so many different programs available too. Even on our website at veritycu.com, we have tools for people to help get their debt under control, figure out what steps they can take to be preparing for the future. But financial literacy, understanding the cost of credit, is really key.
And as you said before, understanding the cost of credit can even be one of the safest things you can do, because that $2,500 shopping spree at Nordstrom's can cost you $3,800 over those 9 years you said.
Exactly.
Sasha, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Again, Sasha Kemble from Verity Credit Union. When we come back, safety is not always in the real estate market unless you make sure you're being safe in the best way that you can. We're going to show you how in just a few minutes. My name is Ben Brashen. George Beasley is coming up. You're listening to Brashenomics.